2, 1. Peace and bliss. Peace and bliss. Peace and bliss. Welcome to another episode 10. Yes, episode 10 of Beyond the Veil. I'm the alchemical anomaly. Blu-ray J, also known as J Drizzy, with the co-host with the most, the Black Sun Shaman.
Indeed. Good to be here. Good to feel you. Good to heal you.
Say it again one more time for the back. Man, listen. It's been a long time coming for this one, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Adventures in life, but we're back. We are back with another live.
Adventures in this good old matrix. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Speak of the devil. We're going to talk a little bit about, the theory / point of fact, as some might accept it as, that we are living in a simulation that's within a simulation that's within a simulation. Light codes engaged, projector fully running, click, 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 frame by frame, yo. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about a recent legal matter that has finally been decided on one that's been called names such as the devil, a pervert, a destroyer of innocence, manipulator, mastermind,
manipulator, Diddy Bopper.
No Diddy. But very much so like Diddy, possibly, allegedly. Someone known as Nature Boy amongst certain communities.
The devil. Beelzebub. No, let me stop.
Yes. Definitely an interesting individual with with very many shall I say twisted interests, perverted intellect. Where do I begin? Where do I end?
He's a programmer. If this is a program, he's definitely, if this is a computer simulation, he is definitely one of the programmers out here.
He's an Agent Smith. I would say so. Don't say nothing about my pink and white mug. It's clean and it's got nice clean water in it. So anyhow, Mr. Nature Boy was recently sentenced to life in prison, right?
Hallelujah. Yes, he was.
Wow.
Yes, he was.
Wow, he went for a hallelujah on me. There's a lot of people rejoicing in his capture and punishment. I won't call it demise because, hey, some have surmised that this is just the beginning for him. You and I talked about this. I had the privilege of catching the last Jaguar Wright interview.
Right on. Big ups to Jag. Can't wait for you to be on the show. I'm so looking forward to the day.
Absolutely. Would love to have you. Definitely treat you very hospitably and would be very much a captive audience to whatever it is you would like to share. Come on. Yeah, man. But she has some interesting points of light to share on this person of interest that is now, you know, paying his time for doing
Hmm.
his crime.
Hmm. For
And
making
go ahead.
for making other people do mental time in his prison, that he constructed in the mind.
Indeed, if you take the journey to go and get your documentation of certain personal effects and political importance or legal importance, however you look at it or word it, don't turn it over to anybody. Don't give that documentation or access to someone who claims to be building a nation. Just don't do it.
And then from a magical standpoint, don't give your astrology to someone who you don't trust down to the day, the minute, the hour, the location. Don't do that either. That's not, especially for a manipulator, a potential genius who's looking for personal narcissistic gain. That's not something you want to do at all.
No, that's one thing that Ms. Wright was saying is that he lured them in with vanity, and he's keeping them stuck in it with vanity because they don't want to admit that they played the fool. They don't want to look like they had no clue what they were really getting themselves into, or the type of individual that they were following from pillar to post, from coast to coast. However you want to look at it. So, um, yeah, man.
From victim to victim.
Yeah.
However you want to look at
Yeah, the blind leading the blind, and the victim leading the wolf to more victims.
it. Hmm.
Very diddy like, very diddy like. Yeah, man. A lot of these people, very intelligent, very manipulative, very unhealed, uh, very sick, twisted, very artistic and creative. Uh,
Hmm.
at times, almost probably appearing luminous, but man, everything from what do you call it? A forced uh, involuntary abortion to um, the word that sounds like ecophile. Um, you know, uh,
Oh, yeah, 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 most definitely. Oh, yeah, that too, that too. This dude had a woman come over there, and she was an older woman, and he was going through that stage where he was telling everybody he could heal everything. You know what I mean? And then the lady died over there. She passed away in one of the houses that they were in. She had stopped taking her medicine or whatever. And then, when his group came in there crying, they got this on tape or whatever, him saying it. When the group came in there crying about the loss of this woman, he said, "Let the dead bury the dead, wipe your tears, don't you cry. You better not cry," and proceeded to reprimand them for their tears upon this woman's death. There's been a lot of strange stuff going on. I seen him talk about slapping the girls over there. I seen him slap one of the dudes on camera.
mm,
Just craziness.
yeah, that is craziness. Let's see, what is this from? This is Atlanta News First. Eligio Bishop or Eligio, however you pronounce it. Eligio Bishop, the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. The accused cult leader was convicted of all counts, including grape, the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office announced Friday. Eligio Bishop, 40, was the leader of a polygamist group called Carbon Nation and claimed to be God. A former member said he graped her and posted nude photos of her online in revenge after she left, according to the attorney's office. Um, Bishop was standing trial on grape, false imprisonment, and 3 counts of prohibition, on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmission charges. A judge has sentenced Bishop to life in prison without parole and a combined 10 years on the other counts. I forgive you. I want you to know I still love you and I forgive you, and kiss my baby girl and let her know I love her and I love y'all, Bishop said on a Zoom call from jail following the verdict. Carbon Nation.
That boy ain't tripping. He told y'all in them videos where he had them fingernails on. He had them little metal fingernails on like a cat. You know what I'm saying? He said the dopest thing to see, the hottest thing that would be out is if it was a dude with a whole bunch of other ones as his husbands and wives, and he had that, and he could be seen with that. So this is right up his alley. I mean, this is right up his alley. He's still doing the same manipulation just within the prison walls to men now. You know what I'm saying? He told Pharaoh he was going, you know, spend some intimate time with him. That's what he told young Pharaoh.
Yeah, I bet that went over like a lead balloon. Yeah, Carbon Nation has a troubled history, previously having been kicked out of Hawaii, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Panama. On the stand, the victim said she and about 20 other followers moved into a Decatur home in 2020. She left several times but came back, leaving for good when the rape happened in March of 2022, she said. If you try to leave, he will try to abuse you, strangle you, or have the cult leaders abuse you, she said. I was definitely scared. Another former member, Courtney Townsend, also testified to Bishop's abuse. But current group members argued they weren't mistreated. One was removed from the courtroom after he kept interrupting the proceedings by yelling in defense of Bishop. Wow. The trial ran into a few other hiccups.
That's my savior. Don't put my savior.
A courtroom official tested positive for COVID-19, delaying the case by a day and a half. Fearing exposure, Bishop said he didn't want to be in the courtroom and attended the trial via Zoom from his jail cell. I wonder why. Maybe another illness might make him more susceptible. I don't allegedly. I don't know. But I mean, everyone would have it because his semen was the sacrament for the whole group, apparently.
Yeah, that they was getting that. That's where they was getting their downloads. You know, we did that one on melanin and genetic information and all of that. Well, that genetic information almost is also in that fluid. So he told them that's how they get that. You can get a real download that way. You can get a physical download that way. And them goofies win.
Man, listen, I'm glad that bastard is away from society. He's still going to have some type of access, unfortunately, because that's the way things work. I mean, even Charles Manson had influence on the outside because you had, people gravitating towards that type of nonsense. And let me be just a tad careful. When it came to Manson, he had a very insightful understanding of the times and what was getting ready to happen. He spoke on melanin before a lot of people ever did, spiritually speaking, explaining what they had done to indigenous people all over the planet, took them out of their forests and jungles and, away from being quote unquote gods and turned into something that was treated as an animal. But, what makes people susceptible to this type of shenanigans, this type of fake leadership?
Man, the
physical abuse.
The biggest one is pride, in my opinion. The biggest one that makes people susceptible to this type of stuff is pride. If if you're too proud to ask for forgiveness for from someone you've hurt, or you're too prideful to correct your behavioral patterns when they're not good, then you go to a place that is accepting of that behavior, not only accepts it, but wears it as a flag on their shirt. And then you never have to ask for forgiveness. And those aspects are accepted of you. So your pride and ego is fulfilled. And then if it's trauma to you, then they can implement trauma followed by some praise and really lock you in. That's how programming works. You know what I mean? You what is it, problem solution, you give them the problem and you give them the solution, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and that's how you get in there and lock them in.
Okay. The Hegelian dialectic again, the problem, reaction, solution. Create the problem, predict the reaction, and have the ready-made solution.
Oh yeah, he'd be like, your family don't love you. I knew they wasn't gonna love you. They can't love you because of the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, that you got, you powerful person, you know what I mean? And they like, yeah, I am a powerful person. That's right. I don't need them. I need you. And that's how they fall. That's how they fall right in. And he like, oh yeah, you know what? If you don't want to be with them, I got somewhere for you to go. I got a house over here. Matter of fact, we about to leave the country right now. You ready to go? Give me all you got and your ID right now. I mean, person, come on.
Yeah. Ms. Wright was saying, that he would tell them, you look like me. What a thing to say, right? You look like me. And basically, I see me and you, like, this is destiny. Listen, I'm all for affirmation. I'm all for positive self-talk. And even in accepting one's deification or state of deity within oneself.
Pimping
But
ain't easy.
yeah, that motion you did. Yeah. The people that I've talked to that have suffered from that particular powder addiction, they say they have a God complex, but it's to an unhealthy, unrealistic, narcissistic level. You know what I mean? And as they're coming down, it's like they become even more abusive towards the people around them because they feel like everybody is beneath them. Everybody, needs to be contributing to their high and, them elevating themselves on that pharmaceutical pedestal.
That reminds me, this man talking about nature ain't never grow no plants over there with them people at all. Talking about he want to return to nature. But interestingly enough, a dude came over there and gave him over 100,000, Jay. Over 100,000. And supposed to be more close to 350,000, allegedly. And he took all of that money and they had nothing to show for it. He was back at the end of the year and a half trying to figure out where to get the funds from, and he had taken it from the disability of his followers. You know what I mean? So what you spending that much money on is the point I'm making. What you spending that much money on? Where the money going?
I don't know. Maybe books on how to continue the pimping. Like pimping. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't even know. I don't know. Man.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I was never interested in anything that he did or had to say.
No, not as far as knowledge is concerned at all. I was trying to save them people over there. Especially the little military light-skinned dude that was over there. I still don't know if he was a plant or what, but he got interesting demeanor and mentality to have fallen victim to such a thing. You know what I mean? He's pretty smart to have fallen for such activity. But I watched because of him, and that there was that other girl, I forget, one of his wives. You know what I mean? I found interest in them and was trying to figure out a way to get him out of such a situation, because dude was just, I mean, he said with fingernails on, he had fingernails on, and he was doing this, and he where he want to be, bro. He put himself out there repeatedly, over and over again, committing crimes on camera, recording it all, because that's his ideal location. Even with the no Diddy situation, you know what I mean. Even if he go to the thing.
I mean, you know, people say that, but a lot of that isn't consensual, especially when they hear about certain things that you've been involved with, and you've taken advantage of women and children. At least when I worked in that industry, you wasn't safe.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but
Yeah,
neither was Justin, allegedly.
I mean, you know, it takes all sorts and all kinds. I've heard of guys, you know, doing the wrestling moves off the top bunk with a phone book. Like, who uses phone books anymore? But they had them. You know, phone cords. Who uses landline phones with cords anymore? But they had them. And you know, the one guy stood
Usually, if you making money offers, the first answer was no for free.
Mm.
Just a thought, you know what I mean? Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, look. Either way, the Jaguar says this might be exactly where he wants to be, just like you're saying, and you know, he can have more young minds to groom in an environment where there's less sympathy for those who would even be drawn in by such behavior, actions, and talk. So, hey, what do you know? What do we know? Hey,
They better not never put Nature Boy and what's that other one, Jamal, in the same prison. Y'all gonna lose control of the whole building in 3 days.
you know, I'd like to think that, but I think that they'd be paired against each other. They might be on some, you know.
Oh yeah. True
They
that. True.
might be on some red or blue orb type action at that point. Uh,
Right.
but hey, yeah, it's a sad thing that this man. I don't know what his past was. Yeah, like I said, the Jag, Ms. Wright, she had a lot of insight. I believe she had some family members that were caught up at one point in time.
He did have a hard childhood, you know what I mean? Like whatever, but then he was put into them foster homes, and he said that the foster woman that took care of him made him a victim. You know what I mean? So
I mean, that's terrible.
yeah,
There's no question. There's no but. There's no comma. That's terrible. The thing is, though, there was a video that was circulating with him bent over in front of um, you know, someone of a different culture, and I don't know what his teachings were, but might have been going against at one point in time the framework of what he was teaching or spreading as far as his beliefs. Just very interesting.
It was whatever he believed at the moment. You know what I mean? Whatever was good for him at the moment, he needed everybody's support to make it happen. And then there are practices, because he at one time he was telling people, you know, if you don't even know what we know, we got secret. This is just what we given to the public. You know, who knows what type of um, Crawley magic? We'll put it like that, just for the sake of not saying the other words. You know what I mean? Like,
What? Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Enochian sex ritual magic. This is what we're seeing even with the Diddy camp.
Yep,
And
exactly.
people don't want to really talk about it, and it's not because of what most of y'all out there think. It's really because they'd be divulging knowledge, as perverse as it might come across to some. that actually does bring with it the things of which they have possession.
Yeah, and then just because they using it in the negative way that they're using it doesn't mean that there wasn't a William Reich who taught orgasmic energy lessons that were not perverted, of the same caliber and of a greater good use. You know what I'm saying? So these people may be it may be presented to you as however it's presented to you, and they may be doing it for a completely separate reason. They may be doing it for vibration, energy, so forth and so on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to manifest money, to manifest this, to manifest that, whatever they doing it for, there are schools of knowledge that operate that way.
Indeed. Indeed. I came across an interview several years, I mean, several, like over 2 decades maybe ago, an interview, a radio interview with the artist David Bowie. And in fact, it wasn't David Bowie, it was Lenny Kravitz speaking on David Bowie. And I don't really want to get into the details of too much of it, but maybe someone could dig up an archive. But what I will
Oh, his altar.
what I
Yeah.
what I will say is that there is a belief held amongst people within certain uh, parts of society that there's really no gender, and that when they reach a certain level of understanding of themselves, that they remove limitations on that because they are liberated from any bounds of the fleshly presentation. Um, and I don't necessarily subscribe to that, while I do understand and understand the uh,
Principle.
principle thought of elevation. The practice is where I have question, because some
Again, it's a base perversion, a work. You know, instead
right,
of
right,
it's a baser, more rude expression. You know what I mean? It's like an 808 drum. You know what I mean? Like it's like a baritone. You know what I mean? It's not. There are many different levels of consciousness that energy can be used through. Some call it yoga, the expression of it. Some call points charts. Some call them the Nadi system. Acupuncture is based on these points of power in the body. So there are non-perverse ways to do this. You know what I mean? And it's just unfortunately the ones who are at the top now are not using it in that way. You know what I mean? They're with
they're
the
dealing, yeah, they're dealing with the low hanging fruit.
mhm, mhm.
They're dealing with the low hanging fruit, the lower vibrational energy. It's easier to dominate using that and to have access to that. And since people have, in so many ways, almost resigned control or ownership of their children over to a system of a beast, the beast has its way. And I mean, we could go on and on into the mystery of
Oh
Babylon.
yeah,
It's crazy how the ones who decry Babylon openly with their mouths embrace the ways and the teachings of Babylon within their heart, but when they see it just unapologetically practiced, they're appalled. But they're actually looking straightway at themselves in a mirror. They just don't want to know that that's what's happening, even though they know that's what's happening. Because if you have any access to spirit, and I don't care what your religion is, and I don't really care how you feel about what I'm about to say, if you were participating in one of the three-headed dog traditions, where God is removed from outside of you so that you have an external focus on a divine figure other than self, or someone who has brought self into existence, then you more than likely are not worshiping or serving who you think you are, or would like us to think you are. And so, yeah, it's crazy. Like, if you do your backstory homework, Corey and I, we did the episode on Nickelodeon and the new documentary series and the expose. Orlando Brown's told you a million times, former Nick kid, you know what I'm saying, television star, movie star. Uh, you have so many. We mentioned Jaguar, right? Please come on the show. We really want you on the show. Anyhow, these people have been telling us, and some of us were already keen to it, hip to it, and these people are just speaking what we've been running into when
Mm-hmm.
when we connect so-called dots. This is the conclusion that we're left with, and then no one wants to speak on it, and the ones that do,
We should do a show one day on human trafficking
indeed,
across the globe.
indeed, I will. We will. I've done Corey and I've done a couple. Um, I want to keep doing that because this is what is the how can I say this? So when I was coming up, or in church, we stumbled upon the pantry in the church, and there was a cooler in that pantry, and we found out that the sacramental wine or blood of Christ for a communion was actually, one time Thunderbird, and then when it became cheaper was Mad Dog 2020. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not trying to blow no whistle or no horn. I'm just saying, listen, man, that's what these children are. They're the sacrament. They're the
If you if
sacrificial
you if
lambs.
you if you look at the Catholic Church right now in Michigan, there's a huge suit open in Michigan, a mass lawsuit with the Catholic priests who have committed these atrocities towards their communities. And then the crazy part about it is I am not seeing them being served justice, but maybe it's I'm not looking in the right location. There is you can't prosecute the church the same way you can prosecute the public.
They're the
There,
first. They're the first corporation. They're the first corporation. So they wrote the book on corporate law. Don't believe me? Check it out for yourself. They're the first corporation. Where you get the word corpus from, or corp from, corporation, corpse.
corpse, and then
There's
black the civilist matus black calling you black, marking you as black thing. That means you dead and you don't
But
have
before you even go down that pathway, T, you got Corpus Christi, right? And corpus delicti. If you're going to have a murder trial, you can't convict without evidence, and an evidence within a murder trial or case would be a body, the body of evidence, corpus delicti. In any case, without a body of evidence. So they're the ones who control the evidence. They're the ones who control the justice. They're the ones who control the policy, the law, the statutes. You know, they're literally the whore of Babylon. They're in bed with everybody.
come on, man. And they call themselves the mother church. You know what I'm saying? And they call themselves the mother church. And you got a whole bunch of countries that you went into and had little babies. You sound like a whore to me. Oh, little baby churches, little baby parishes where people perished. I mean, you know what I'm saying. The parishes in Jamaica and
The
New
parishioners,
Orleans.
the parishioners and the clergy lays hands on the people, and they
All,
transfer the spirit. And I mean, listen, we could go on and on and on, and no shade to recovering Catholics. You know who you are. We've all been there, unfortunately. Yeah, and even the ones that say Allahu Akbar, you're a Catholic too. Find out who your imam is paying his tenth to. You
or find out who Jehovah Witnesses are getting their funding from.
yeah. Right. Oops. Did I say that? Allegedly to all of that. Allegedly. Not really. It's pretty straightforward. Um, but yeah, that's why people like Nature Boy can't get away with what they do too long, because they're not under a covering of corporate. fiction. So everything that he acted like he was doing and then he eventually started doing while trying to convince the people right there in real time that he's still acting, that's going to catch up to you. You're not paying anybody off high enough. So I'm glad. There's a lot of people. They like, oh yeah, I'm glad that he's doing something. I'm glad that young brother or sister. And I'm like, you got to be stone cold out your mind. You was out your mind when you was doing it every Sunday or Saturday, putting money in a plate. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, putting money in the plate, but I don't
Cross,
even see no
cross
problem with.
rolling out rugs at certain times. Like you think that God told you to do that for real?
Jay, I rode down. I live near a place called Highland Park. It's a hood area called Highland Park. Okay. I drove down the street, Jay, and I got so peed off. I almost had my lady stop the car. It literally I'm crying in the car while we driving. I'm driving down the street, Jay. It's a hood. It's so hood. It look like a third world country. It don't even look like we in the United States no more. Somebody had a door on the window because their window was bust out. So they took a door and they put the door up to the house and drilled the door over the window hole, and they was living in the house. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of level of poor that's in this neighborhood, right? Abandoned houses everywhere. But every 4 to 7 miles, there was a multi-million-dollar church in pristine condition, laid out to the gills. I'm talking about some of them had valet parking in the middle of this hood area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, them poor people are hoping and giving everything they got to come up out of that way of life. So that's just nuts.
So I think this is a good point to pause and segue. So that's those people's reality.
Yes.
And for
Yes.
a part of my childhood, it was mine.
And mine. I was a pastor and successfully pastored a church in Tennessee.
Indeed. Ta-Nehisi.
Mm-hmm.
The whole land. Hey.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, man. Look, some people like, okay, one of my favorite songs, This Can't Be Life. Scarface featuring Jerry G and Beanie Siegel. This can't be life on some levels, right? And then on other levels, it's like, wow, this is so awesome, so incredible. That matrix that we found out, we were being programmed into.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and some of us very early on, even though some of us entered back in, just like Neo does in the series,
Mm-hmm.
at least in the film. I have to read the book. I apologize, Sister Stewart, Sophia Stewart, the mother of the Matrix. How do we tackle this, man? This is such a, I don't even want to say deep because that's like corny to even make a reference to in light of this topic.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's a reality. It's a definitely a level of awareness or a paradigm shift. You know what I mean? Paying attention to it. Like I think a good place to start would be frequency and the effects that frequency has on awareness. You know what I mean? Like for them to be able to know that, you know what I mean, so they can even see the computer programming part. You know what I mean? Like literally as it stands, molecular structure changes in correspondence to whatever frequencies being played to it. So whatever megahertz, whatever frequencies, whatever rapidity is being played to somebody, it changes their molecular structure. So it literally changes your perceptive capability and your construction, depending on what frequency you're consistently in presence of.
I know your screen is smaller where you are right now, but can you see this?
Yep, yeah. The harmonic balance technique from nonlinear simulation is extended to nonlinear adjoint sensitivity.
Analysis.
Analysis. Yeah, it's hard for me to read. I got to scroll all the way over as I'm reading it. This provides an effective tool for the otherwise. Can you read this? Can you read this? Because it's the
Yeah,
scrolling.
no, I understand your screen. Yeah, that this provides an efficient tool for the otherwise expensive but essential gradient calculations. You're doing a great job, though, by the way, for that. I know the size difference.
Mm.
In design optimization, the hierarchical approach widely used for circuit simulation is generalized to sensitivity analysis and to computing responses in any subnetwork at any level of the hierarchy. Important aspects of frequency domain circuit computer aided design, CAD, such as simulation and sensitivity analysis, linear and nonlinear circuits, hierarchical and non-hierarchical approaches, voltage and currents, excitations, or open and short circuit terminations are unified in this general framework. The theory provides a basis for the next generation of microwave CAD software. It takes advantage of mature techniques such as syntax oriented hierarchical analysis, optimization, and yield driven design to handle nonlinear as well as linear circuits. The sensitivity analysis approach has been verified by MESFET, MESFET, mixer example, exhibiting a 90% saving of CPU time over the prevailing perturbation method. Now, that's a whole lot of words, right? But this abstract is taken from a unified theory for frequency domain simulation and sensitivity analysis of linear and nonlinear circuits. And this is what came up when I was searching the relationship between a simulation theory and frequency. So, let me see if I just back up a little bit here. See, simulation theory and frequency. Interference effects in the sum frequency generation spectra of thin organic films. So this looks like written works and research that is being done on proving that this simulation that we are inside of not only exists, but how it can be manipulated, controlled, affected, altered, et cetera, et cetera.
So let's talk about this. LSD 25. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
You can take LSD 25. It was created by a scientist, and you could take it, and you cannot overdose. You can take as much of it as you want, and you can't overdose. Psilocybin and detramitriptyline (DMT) both have an effect on their users at large doses, or what do they call them? Epic doses is what the mushroom community calls it. When you take it, and then for the DMT community, they say when you fade out and then you come back and the world is reconstructed for you. Both of these groups of people have a common thread amongst their experiences when they're doing these hallucinogens. They see a language written all over everything. They see symbology written all over everything, animate and inanimate objects. They see a language written over them. and some of them have drawn out the symbols, and the symbols are very close in resemblance to one another, as if there's some universal underlying language that can be perceived when the chemical changes their perceptive capability.
So let's go on and jump on into the language. Symbols of power. Adinkras and the nature of reality. Physicists have long sought to describe the universe in terms of equations. Now, James Gates explains how research on a class of geometric symbols known as adinkras could lead to fresh insights into the theory of supersymmetry and perhaps even the very nature of reality. Um, I want to share a little bit of a clip here, or not a clip, but a short video from YouTube where he's explaining what he came across and what it is. And this is fair use. We're going to comment probably in between here and there. We're not going to play it straight through, but try to let you hear enough of what he has to say to where you know what he's saying, and you can clearly discern that it's uh, S. James Gates that has this discovery. This is based on an article that was printed in 2012, but very interesting.
Strange images that are behind your head right now. Partly it's taken to these very strange images that are behind your head right now. These are pictures of equations. I've been, for the last 15 years, trying to answer the kinds of questions that my colleagues have been raising. And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes, just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web.
What do you see right there, man? Hmm. Do you see those frequency waves?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's another thing when those people who were doing those epic doses of those two hallucinogens, they were also seeing a rhythmic breathing. They called it breathing. They said that they discovered that everything was breathing and taking breath. So that's a wave pattern. You know what I mean? When you see wave, that is the same thing as a wave pattern. So interestingly enough, adding on to this, in ancient perception, they say you got 9 parts of your soul. And whether it's your thinking, your sight, your ears, your emotions, all of this is data. All of this data can go in, and then in the next breath out, another awareness of reality comes forward. That's potentially the power of focus. But and the way that we access these genetic records, RNA records, and all of that is computer. All of that's stored files. All of that's is computer programming, and just in a more human form.
Indeed, indeed. Um, Let's go back. I'm going to play a little bit more. Let him see the three multidimensional adinkras.
You're saying your attempt to understand the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on
Yes,
our computers.
that is correct. So,
Wait, wait. I have to just be silent for a minute here. So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos.
into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
Computer code.
Computer code, strings of bits of ones and zeros.
It's not just sort of
Y'all heard that. Strings and bits of ones and zeros written within the fabric of the universe. So, what is this written on? What is this written on? Well, it looks like I lost my partner on the live stream. Hopefully, he'll be coming back in the backstage here in just a moment. But yeah, this is very interesting, powerful stuff. And
resembles
let's see
computer
here.
code. You're saying it is computer code.
It's not even just is computer code, it's a special kind of computer code that was invented by a scientist named Claude Shannon in the 1940s. That's what we find very, very deeply inside the equations that occur in string theory and in general in systems that we say are super.
So we see here, it showed prior to this 5 coded adinkras and then 4 adinkras within adinkras. I mean, this is evidence here that there's a reality code, a code for reality, computer based language, at least what we call computer based language, which was pre existing within the universal fabric. And you have codes within those codes that are linking a reality with almost a simulated reality and then another form of simulated reality. Like, this is what they have discovered. Bear with me just one moment. I'm going to try to get my co-host back up. uh, Bear with us just a moment. Thank you so much for your patience through this technical difficulty, but it seems like this is something that keeps getting thrown at us. Maybe it's the subject matter or topics that we've chosen, because we want to keep you all not only informed and entertained, but we want to have you educated and show you how you can educate yourself further on what's really happening beyond the veil. Just one moment. I apologize once again. Experiencing some technical difficulties. I guess I will just continue on with this as a reaction, um, sharing with Dr. or what S. James Gates has discovered as far as the Adinker codes and their correlation to multiple simulated or matrix type realities being conjoined through computer programming. Uh, this programming pre-existing, like I said, within the fabric of the universe, and charted also by the Dogon tribe of Mali.
Supersymmetric. Some of those codes are showing on the screen behind you right now. They don't look like codes, but these pictures, which we call adinkras, are graphical representations of sets of equations that are based on codes that in the description of our universe. That is a supersymmetrical universe, which we were going to test in the LHC. If you believe that description, I can show you the presence of these codes. That's my statement.
Do you have any predictions in your ideas, or any ways to test any of your ideas any more than, say, the guy over on the screen?
The work that I'm doing is in fact so theoretical that we don't understand yet whether it is even possible to complete the program. We have found these strange graphs. We know that they are equivalent to equations, and we have found in these equations computer codes. And so that's where we are right now. So I cannot give you a prediction. This work is less than 2 years old.
But it's not that you recognize that you will need a prediction in order to.
As you can hear, it sounds like the other voice is most likely Neil deGrasse Tyson. And these are real scientists, you all. They're having conversations about real things. We call it theory because this is something that would have to be demonstrated within a controlled environment, and come out, show an outcome of positive evidence. And I mean, this is active theory. This is basically what they have uh, compiled as far as the evidence. So, the Dogon people have had these records and this information for thousands of years. Black Sun Shaman T apologizes. His phone died apparently. So, uh, anyway, technology happens, you all. We hope that we were able to share with you at least enough information to give you something to go down a rabbit hole of your choice if you select and opt to do so. But yeah, man, Beyond the Veil podcast, an unusual podcast. We appreciate your subscribership. Thank you for the new subscribers that have recently subscribed. I believe with over 63 at this point. So, thank you so much, guys. Over 15 new subscribers within the last 28 to 60 days. Tremendous amount of views on the shorts, the reels, and also, the podcast. So, like, share, and subscribe, get the word out. Please excuse the technical difficulties once again. You can find us at youtube.com/jjersey3692. Also, check out the website for your healing, https://blacksunshaman.com. Check out those vitamins, supplements, dewormers / parasite removers. We are definitely there to give you everything that you could seek after for your healing, for your mental, emotional, physical health. We just want to continue to grow and show love to you as the audience. And we hope that you'll show love to us and show your support. Like, share, subscribe, join our locals channel. You also can subscribe to that for $5 a month. We appreciate you. Thanks for rocking with us as we continue to grow and evolve. Peace.